You know that classic story about a group of orphans living happily together, going on all kinds of adventures, and eventually finding a loving family? Well, if that rings a bell, chances are you're an anime sommelier who probably watches shows only you and 2 other people on Earth know about. But hey, that's not a bad thing, I guess. You vibe with the story, get emotionally invested, and hold your breath waiting for that happy ending. And that's exactly the first impression most people get from The Promised Neverland. We're introduced to a dreamlike orphanage, Grace Fieldhouse, home to 38 incredibly smart kids, and a loving caretaker known as Mama Isabella, who honestly seems like the sweetest person alive. Everything is just too perfect. But here's the catch. The nightmare begins when we find out the truth. That orphanage isn't a home. It's a farm, a luxury farm where the children are the product. They're raised like premium cattle, showered with love and care, all to ensure their meat is of the highest quality when it's finally served at a monster's dinner table. And no doubt, this is one of the most mind-blowing plot twists I've ever seen in an anime. So today on the channel, we're revisiting the full story of The Promised Neverland, from the very beginning all the way to the end. This is where we meet Emma, Norman, and Ray, 3 super intelligent orphans living a happy, organized life at Grace Fieldhouse with 35 other children. Sounds like paradise, right? Emma is the mother hen of the group, waking everyone up and helping the younger kids. At breakfast, we're introduced to Mama Isabella. With a warm smile and the patience of a saint, she takes care of everyone, and the children idolize her, especially Emma.
Love how deeply you care about your family.
Thank you, Mom. I'm glad.
After their meal, they take a series of tests that look like the SATs for geniuses, and the main trio, Emma, Norman, and Ray, always get perfect scores. Even so, Norman notes that Isabella is much smarter, as they've never managed to beat her at chess. The kids' favorite pastime is playing tag in the forest. Emma is all brawn and agility, but Norman is the brains. To catch her, he fakes a fall and lures her into a trap. "Your weakness is that you're too kind," he says. Take the hint. During the game, they approach a low fence surrounding the property and start dreaming about the outside world and the day they'll be adopted. Speaking of which, little Connie is set to leave that very day. Her farewell is filled with tears and hugs as Isabella walks her away.
I don't want to leave you. I want to stay right here. Mom, what song is that?
But while cleaning up, Emma finds Connie's stuffed bunny. Knowing she couldn't live without it, Emma and Norman decide to run and return the toy. They arrive at a distant gate and find a truck. Emma opens the back to leave the bunny and bam! She finds Connie's lifeless body. In shock, she and Norman hide under the truck when they hear voices. And then, the terror escalates. Real-life monsters appear, discussing how the children are raised as high-quality meat for other wealthy monsters. Their happy orphanage was, in fact, a luxury farm.
It looks so delicious.
The final nail in the coffin, Isabella appears, confirming the delivery of the goods with the monsters. Their world shatters. Back at the house, Emma has a breakdown, but Norman is already devising a plan. They have to escape, and not alone. The mission is now to save everyone, treating their escape like a game of chess or tag. To make matters worse, Isabella finds the forgotten bunny and realizes someone has discovered the secret. Discovering the truth about the orphanage has shaken Emma to her core. She's having horrible nightmares of Connie being served as the main course at a banquet and can barely hide her panic whenever she sees Mama. But Norman tells it like it is. They have to keep smiling as if nothing happened. Mama might know someone was at the gate, but she doesn't know who. They start planning their escape through the forest, but come face to face with a giant, seamless concrete wall, like the ones from Attack on Titan. To make things worse, when one of the children gets lost, Mama only needs to look at her watch to know their exact location. The conclusion is sinister. Security is lax because they all have a tracking device implanted in their bodies. The tension only ratchets up when Mama, out of the blue, corners Emma and asks why she's been less cheerful lately. Norman watches from hiding, panicking, while Emma puts on her good girl mask. Luckily, Ray rings the dinner bell, saving them just in time. But before they leave, Mama flat out asks if they were at the gate the other night. They deny it, of course, but her face makes it clear she's deeply suspicious. As soon as they're alone, the terror hits hard. Emma collapses to her knees, but Norman helps her up. In that moment, she realizes she's not alone in this, and that there's still hope. They will get out. They just need a plan. The plan begins with them hiding bedsheets in a hollow tree to make ropes, but someone has followed them. It's Ray, their friend, wanting to know what's going on. They tell him everything, and to their surprise, he believes every word. The reason? He trusts Norman enough to know he would never lie about something so serious. Ray agrees to help, but he has a problem with Emma's plan. She insists on saving all 37 children. Ray thinks this is insane, arguing that it's impossible to get everyone out, and that beyond the wall, the world belongs to demons. For him, the weakest would have to be left behind to ensure the survival of the strongest. But Emma won't back down. For her, it's all or nothing. And Norman, despite being the genius of the group, sides with her. When Ray asks why he would support this clay boat, Norman's answer is simple. He likes Emma and wants to see her keep smiling. After all, even a clay boat, if it dries and hardens, might be able to float.
Trying to take everyone? It's like making a boat out of mud. Because of Emma. And now I do anything.
Isabella, the mama of the farm, now has an assistant, Sister Krone, and this woman is not here to make friends. She arrives with a sinister agenda, planning to pull the rug out from under her boss. Krone has already figured out that Isabella is hiding something big. She didn't report the children who witnessed the harvest, and that could cost her the job or her life. Meanwhile, the kids have another problem on their list. To find out where the trackers are hidden, they play spies and investigate Carol, the newest member of the house. And bingo, they find a red lump behind her ear. It's like a death GPS implanted in everyone.
It's a mark from when they took our blood for testing. At least that's what Mom said.
In a bizarre scene, we even see a demon corporate meeting. They are terrifying monsters, but they live in a caste system that resembles a super toxic company with bosses and underlings. Maybe the kids can use this internal strife to their advantage in the future. For now, the focus is on how to get everyone out. Destroying the trackers is too risky, so the plan changes. Train everyone for the escape. Since most of the kids wouldn't believe the truth, they disguise the training as a simple game of tag. Emma becomes the group's personal trainer, while Norman and Ray act as coaches, teaching everyone how to survive the little game. But Sister Krone is no fool. She notices the trio's strange behavior, and to test their limits and advance her own power play, she challenges them to a game of tag. And the woman is basically the Terminator in a nun's habit, super strong and agile. She lures the younger children with silly tricks and corners Emma, who is trying to escape with 2 kids in her arms. The scene is pure horror, with Krone's voice getting closer until she appears out of nowhere, looming over Emma.
Then you should know I'm on your side. I found you.
In the end, time runs out, and Norman and Ray manage to escape, leaving Krone impressed. But it's an impressed of the, this livestock is top-grade variety. Now she knows who the players are and will be watching them closely. To make everything worse, Norman and Ray reach a terrible conclusion. There's a traitor among them. The disappointment on Emma's face is total. She's trying to save everyone, and one of them is working for the monsters.
Someone among the kids.
So there's a traitor.
Isabella makes it crystal clear to Sister Krone who runs this place. Basically, she pulls the newcomer aside and says, I know you're trying to take me down, but if you stay in your lane and help me, maybe I'll promote you to mama one day. It's like a boss giving false hope to an intern. Obviously, Krone is furious and decides she'll oust Isabella at the first opportunity. Little does she know, Isabella was expecting this. Meanwhile, Emma, Norman, and Ray continue their escape training disguised as tag. But now things are more serious, with teams and tactics. Ray has created 100 different formations for Emma to memorize, and she, full of confidence, replies with easy peasy, knowing the real escape will be 1,000 times harder. The biggest problem is that the trio knows there's a mole among them, and all suspicion falls on Don and Gilda. Ray even warns Emma to stop being so nice and start suspecting her friends. From then on, every little thing they do seems suspicious. To solve this, Norman decides to change the rules of the game. Mama expects them to use the full month they have until the next shipment, but Norman wants to escape in just 10 days to catch everyone by surprise. The first step is to tell Don and Gilda the plan. Don thinks it's a joke, but Gilda believes Emma. To avoid shocking them too much, Norman lies, saying the children who left were victims of human trafficking. It's a half-truth to ensure everyone gets on board. Ray doesn't like the lie, but Norman is focused. Escape first, therapy later. To unmask the traitor, he sets a trap. He tells Gilda the escape rope is in one place and tells Don it's in another. That night, Emma pretends to be asleep and sees Gilda leave the room. Someone slips a note under Isabella's door with the location Norman gave to Don.
I see. The rope is in Norman's bed, is it?
Later, Gilda enters Krone's room, but doesn't say a word about anything. This means she isn't the traitor. The next day, Norman and Ray check the hiding spots. The rope that Ray knew about, and that Don also knew about, is gone. Ray immediately accuses Don, but then comes the plot twist. Norman turns and reveals he's already figured it all out. The real traitor, who has been there all along, is Ray himself. The jig is up.
Well then, guess it was Dawn. Actually, it's you who's the traitor.
Norman finally corners Ray about being Mama's spy, but instead of a tense confrontation, Ray seems almost amused at having been found out, as if he expected it. The kid is too smart for his own good, and Ray, he doesn't even bother to deny it. He basically admits it and explains he did what he had to do. If we believe his story, Ray has been playing 4D chess with Isabella for years. He became her informant to gather vital information for an escape plan and to earn Mama's trust. Someone had to be the inside man, right? Taking a page out of Emma's book of compassion, Norman forgives Ray. The condition? Ray must now become his spy too, a double agent. Ray accepts, but with a condition of his own. They have to trick Emma into thinking they'll take everyone. In reality, he wants to leave the little ones behind. In his mind, bringing the younger kids along is signing everyone's death warrants. Immediately, Ray goes to meet with Mama and throws all the attention onto Sister Krone, painting her as the real threat. It's a risky move to shift the focus away from himself and the escape plans. The idea of abandoning the children weighs on Norman, who has a horrible nightmare. Everyone, including Ray and Emma, dying during the escape, with flowers sprouting from their bodies. A true horror show to shake anyone's confidence.
I tried to tell you.
Even so, Norman pretends to agree with the plan. When Ray finally tells Emma the truth, her reaction shocks everyone. Instead of getting angry, she feels pity for the burden he has carried for 6 years, watching child after child be sent to their death. She just holds his hand and tells him never to do that again. Meanwhile, Don and Gilda feel completely left out of the secret talks. Their frustration is so great that they decide to act on their own. They break into Mama's room and, by moving a bookshelf, discover a locked door right as someone is about to walk in and catch them red-handed. The person who walks through the door isn't Mama but little Phil, who, Don and Gilda narrowly escape, but Don isn't satisfied and continues to play Sherlock Holmes, obsessed with discovering the truth the main trio is hiding. In a move worthy of a spy movie, he simply steals Isabella's master key. Meanwhile, Norman, Emma, and our favorite double agent Ray agree they need more information about the outside world to survive. And then, Emma reveals their secret weapon, a man named William Minerva, discovered by chance by Phil. This kid is turning into the season's MVP. Apparently, Minerva left messages in Morse code in several library books, which sparks a glimmer of hope. Maybe there are other humans out there, fighting the system. With the key in hand, Don and Gilda break into Mama's secret room, and what they find is bone-chilling. All the stuffed animals of the children who were adopted. It hits them hard. Not only was Norman telling the truth, but the reality seems even worse.
All of it was true, Dawn. Mom was lying.
And once again, a random child saves the day, distracting Mama just as she's about to catch them. Norman and Ray scold them, but know they can't hide it anymore. Norman comes clean and tells them everything. The reaction is heavy. Don, frustrated, punches Norman and Ray in the face, but his anger isn't at his friends. It's at himself for feeling so useless. After Gilda calms things down, they apologize and ask if the duo is still in, even if the plan could lead to death. The answer is an immediate yes. The team of 5 protagonists is finally 100% aligned. Now, Don and Gilda help steal materials that Ray, with a straight face, includes in the false report he gives to Mama. Norman confirms to Emma that he's using Ray to feed Mama misinformation to throw her off on the day of the escape. But there's a catch. During their meeting, Ray finds out he's the next one to be shipped out. To make matters worse, 1 week before the escape, Sister Krone appears out of nowhere from behind a tree and drops a bombshell. I know everything, but instead of ratting them out, she proposes an alliance against Mama.
So, you want to join forces?
But obviously, the kids don't trust her one bit. The woman is far too unhinged to be a real ally. Even so, Emma and Norman decide to take the risk and go to her room to try and get some information out of her. The pair try to play spies, but Krone, who's no fool, sees right through them. This is where we learn Krone's background. She also has a number on her neck. Apparently, the 12-year-old girls with the highest scores are given a choice: become livestock along with the boys, or train to become a mama. To avoid being devoured, she accepted the second option, which came with an implant in her heart, a little gift that stops beating if she tries to leave the farm. Basically, she traded certain death for an even more limited freedom. During their conversation, the sister drops a few crumbs of information. The tracker monitor isn't all that precise, and more importantly, there are humans living freely out there. If they manage to escape, they'll have to blend into the crowd. The problem is, she gets more intel out of them than they do from her. She discovers that they know about the trackers and how to disable them. Meanwhile, Mama gives Ray a Polaroid camera as a reward for being her little spy. He pretends to be fascinated with photography, but in reality, he's eyeing the parts he can use to destroy the trackers. Isabella is a bit suspicious, but her confidence is so great that she pays it no mind. Krone, growing suspicious, decides to test Ray and goes to snoop through his things. Instead of the camera, she finds a note that Ray seems to have left there for her on purpose. But before she can figure out what's going on, Isabella shows up with another letter in her hand. The look on Mama's face says it all. It's Krone's termination letter, or rather, her final sentence.
It's unfortunate, but that's how it is.
You know that golden rule in every series? When a character says, "I hope the plan works," it means things are about to go south, and that's exactly what happens. Sister Krone thinks she's hit the jackpot. She wasn't fired, but promoted to Mama of Plant 4. But the only thing she wants more than being a mama is to destroy Isabella, and that is her downfall. If she had just left quietly, she might have gotten away with it. She takes the evidence of the escape plan to Grandma, the big boss, but the old woman doesn't even care. After all, the children are still under control. The truth is, Krone never stood a chance. In a flash, we see her life pass before her eyes, and Grandma simply unleashes a demon on her and plants the instant death flower. Game over for Sister Krone, who in her final breath, hopes the children manage to escape, something she never could.
Escape! Survive this!
Meanwhile, Ray is completely in the dark. The inspection has already begun, and he has no idea Krone is gone. Isabella arrives coolly, throws his betrayal in his face, cancels their deal, and locks him in a room. Then, she uses her tracker to go straight for Norman and Emma. Dawn and Gilda see Isabella leaving alone and realize something is wrong. Dawn becomes the hero of the day, breaks down the door, and frees Ray. The three of them rush to help, but it's too late. Mama is always 10 steps ahead. She finds Norman and Emma, drops the fake smiles, and sheds the persona she maintained for 10 years. She even gives a borderline moving speech, asking them to give up and live happily until their slaughter day, when death will be instant. But deep down, she knows the worst thing for them would be to give up. They are far too valuable meat. When they refuse her offer, Emma comes up with a plan. She runs and hugs Isabella tightly to give Norman time to grab the rope, but the price is high. Mama breaks Emma's leg like it's a twig. And to make it worse, she then dresses the wound with all the care in the world and carries the girl back to the house. With a broken leg, there's no way Emma can escape. To twist the knife, Isabella informs a paralyzed Norman that his shipment date has been set. The plan didn't just fail, it was an epic disaster for our young heroes. The situation has never been worse. Any hope of Emma escaping on her own went down the drain after Mama committed an act of brutality that would make any Disney villain look like an angel. And to top it off, Norman's shipment date is tomorrow. Norman tries to act tough for Emma, but when he goes to get some water, he has a flash of pure panic, the kind of fear that paralyzes you. But then, his face shifts to a defiant look, as if he's just come up with a master plan. Back in the room, Ray and Emma already had a plan too. They refuse to let Norman go alone and propose a new move. Norman will disable his tracker with a device Ray just built using parts he'd collected as rewards over the years, and he'll hide until Emma gets better. Then, they'll all escape together. Norman likes the idea, but worries that if he disappears, Ray will be next on the list. Ray's response? He's willing to break his own arm to be unsuitable for shipment, just like Emma. What a friend. When Norman asks how he found out the truth, Ray drops a bombshell. He has memories from when he was still in his mother's womb. Basically, he's always known everything. The plan is on. The next morning, Norman makes a run for it, heading for the wall with the spare rope Dawn and Gilda made, while Emma and Ray babysit Mama. The music is epic and triumphant. He climbs the wall, reaches the top, and wow, on the other side is a massive forest. A perfect place to disappear. When Mama finally notices Norman's absence, she checks her tracker and sees it's offline. But to Emma and Ray's despair, she just smiles and closes the device. A moment later, Norman reappears, looking like he's been punched by fate. He wasn't drugged or hypnotized. It was just a look of complete defeat. From the top of the wall, he saw the truth. Between the wall and the forest, there is a giant chasm, an impossible distance to cross. Just when hope was at its peak, the universe delivered a cruel blow, and their future seems more inevitable than ever.
It was a cliff. A cliff.
It looks like checkmate for the kids, and especially for Norman, who has a one-way ticket stamped for the next day. The schedule is set, and he accepts his fate, to the utter despair of Emma and Ray. Before he leaves, Norman offers one last shred of hope. He noticed that the farm complex forms a hexagon, and that at one of the points is the headquarters, where there's a bridge to cross the chasm, but he won't be going with them, and there's no use arguing. While packing his bag, Norman includes a single item: the tin can phone Ray helped Emma make years ago, so she could talk to him when she was sick. It's a perfect summary of the trio: Ray with the technical know-how, and Emma with the stubbornness to never give up, ensuring Norman was never alone. They're not just friends, they're family. But this time, there's no string long enough to reach his destiny. Norman's farewell scene is heavy. All the other children are crying or holding it together, but no one is suffering more than Emma. She doesn't even try to hide it, and even tries to pass him the tracker disabler. That's when Mama delivers her most direct death threat yet, whispered ominously for only Emma to hear, forcing her to back down. Before leaving, Norman returns the device and tells her not to give up. As for Ray, he doesn't even show up. Norman has to go to him, and the guy says nothing, just a silent parting glance.
It'll be okay. Don't ever give up.
Norman's walk with Mama to the gate is sinister, filled with a sense of finality, but a strange peace. Mama seems to have a genuine respect for him. He puts her on the spot by asking if she's happy, but she says yes, because she met someone like him. She tells him to enter a brightly lit room, and it's the last we see of him. Who knows what he saw in there? Emma and Ray are completely destroyed. Norman was their heart, the bridge that connected them. Ray says he's tired and doesn't care anymore. Emma, who was the last one holding on to hope, also breaks down. Seeing this, Mama offers her a career plan: give up on escaping and become the next mama of the house. Of course, Emma would never betray the promise she made to Norman, so Mama tells her to keep dreaming of the impossible and writhe in agony. Time passes, and the eve of Ray's shipment arrives. Emma finds him humming a tune, and that's when they reveal that all the drama and sadness was pure theater, a performance to trick Mama into thinking they'd really given up. But the fire in their eyes at the end proves otherwise. They're more determined than ever. Ray approaches Emma and asks if she's given up on the plan, and she calmly returns the question. The two get back to planning the escape, and Emma reveals she spent the last 2 months secretly masterminding everything. Ray is floored. Ray's idea is like something Michael Bay would direct: set everything on fire. He shows Emma a stash of oil he's been collecting his whole life, and, in a super dramatic moment, pours it all over himself, sending Emma into a full-blown panic. His plan was simple and tragic: turn himself into a human torch to distract Isabella while the others escaped. On his 12th birthday, he lights a match for his happy birthday. Meanwhile, Isabella calmly crosses off the date on her calendar and wishes Ray a happy birthday. Seconds later, a scream. She runs to the dining hall and finds Emma on the floor, sobbing and screaming Ray's name.
Happy birthday, dear Ray. And goodbye.
No! Ray!
Isabella checks the tracker and confirms Ray's signal is in the middle of the flames. She even tries to put out the fire, thinking, damn it, I need to save the brain. But when she turns to tell Emma to run, the girl is gone. Trying to track her, she finds Emma's signal stationary in the bathroom. There, she finds the girl's ear, tracker still attached. That's when it hits her. The escape has begun.
What? Emma?
In the forest, Emma, clutching her bloody ear, reunites with the group near the wall. And the plot twist? Ray is there, alive and well. He doesn't understand a thing. Dawn explains it was all a master plan. Emma stopped him from getting barbecued, slapped him to his senses, and used a decoy made of meat and hair to fool Isabella. Norman, the genius, had already figured out Ray's suicide plan and left a counterplan ready for Emma. she just had to execute it. Back at the burning house, Isabella grabs a communicator to alert the higher-ups. Staring at the fire, she doesn't cry, she laughs. A villainous laugh of someone who loves a challenge, vowing to hunt them all down. But just as she's about to start the chase, little Phil appears and tugs on her dress, interrupting her moments of pure evil.
Darlings, I will never let you escape from here!
Hey, Mom.
As the children begin their climb, Emma drops a bombshell on Ray. It's not a full evacuation. The kids under 4 are staying behind. The idea is to ensure the 15 oldest can escape, then come back later to rescue the rest. Not just from this farm, but from all the others. An impossible decision, but a necessary one. That's why little Phil is there with Mama while the house burns. The kid not only knew about the plan, but he now perfectly understands what it means to be harvested. Emma left him in charge like a child general to train the next wave of escapees until she returns. But first, they have to cross a giant chasm. And here comes another twist that not even Ray knew about. No using the obvious bridge. Instead, Don hurls a rock with a rope that wraps around a tree on the other side. He zips across, secures it, and the others launch 2 more ropes using water pressure rockets. A brilliant plan that completely fooled Mama. Phil manages to distract Mama just long enough for her to sound the alarm for the wrong location. By the time she realizes her mistake, it's too late. Emma is the last across, gives a defiant look, a silent goodbye, and disappears on the other side. The ropes are cut, checkmate.
Of course. Bye, Mom.
Please don't go, Emma.
In this moment of defeat, flashbacks reveal Mama Isabella's past. She also had a special friend, Leslie, who was harvested. Desperate, she tried to escape, climbed the wall, and came face to face with the same chasm. Her mama found her and made the same offer she would make to Emma years later. But unlike Emma, Isabella accepted. She was trained, became a mama, and even had a child, Ray. We learned that Ray knows she's his biological mother. He asked her why she had him, and the answer was simple: survival. And that's where the strange collaboration between them began. In the end, Isabella feels no anger. She hears the music that reminds her of her choice to join the system instead of fighting it, and seems proud that her children were smarter. As they watch their first sunrise of freedom, she wishes them good luck. Emma, Ray, and the Gracefield kids are finally free, but now the real struggle begins, surviving in the outside world. The forest is huge, much bigger than they imagined. While the younger kids play Tarzan, swinging from trees, Gilda and Don act as the parents of the group, making sure no one gets lost. Emma and Ray, the operation leaders, organize everyone for a meal. Away from the group, Ray has a talk with Emma. He apologizes for the whole ear thing, promising to protect the family they formed. It's a very emotional moment. After the serious chat, they get back to work and discover that Norman's pen has a hidden Morse code. Touch me. Touching the screen, Gilda enters the password and a message from Minerva appears, guiding them to a secret destination. Thanks, Norman. Heading southeast, they find plants full of water, exactly as described in the book, The Adventures of Ugo. Ray and Yvette realize it instantly. The book is actually a survival manual for this place, but the piece is short-lived. Demon hunters are on their trail, and to make matters worse, a wild demon shows up to crash the party. They split up to lose the beast. Ray comes up with an action movie-worthy plan: lure the demon into a trap of roots. But the plan goes down the drain when the real hunters appear and simply dispatch the monster. Cornered, Ray lies that he's the only survivor and runs off to distract them, leaving a message for Emma in case he's captured. Meanwhile, Emma faints from her ear wound. Suddenly, a mysterious figure surrounded by fireflies appears and guides the group to safety. Far away, Ray is also saved by another stranger. When he wakes up, he finds Emma, already recovering. The reunion is emotional, complete with a hug. They think they were saved by Minerva's people, until a masked woman appears. She takes them to dinner, and that's when Ray figures out the truth. Their saviors are actually demons who have never heard of Minerva. Things just got serious. Emma and Ray arrive furious, demanding to know what the demons did with their siblings. Emma fears the worst, that Mujika has turned the group into dinner. Without giving anything away, Mujika plays it coy, and Sonju basically clears a path for Emma to run and see for herself. Ray follows, and they find everyone safe and sound, devouring a meal prepared by Mujika herself. There are hugs demons all around, and Gilda warns them to take it easy on Emma, who's still recovering. Soon, the demons appear, and there's a moment of mutual apologies, like a sorry for not trusting you exchange. After everyone passes out, Emma and Ray begin their interrogation. First question, why haven't they become demon chow? Sanju explains that his religion has a dietary restriction, like being a human vegan. They can't eat human meat. Then comes the bombshell. The history they know is all wrong. Humans haven't been free for 1,000 years. There was a massive war between the two species, and to end the conflict, a promise was made. The world was divided. Demons stopped hunting humans in their world, and in return, they got a farm with people to raise and eat. For anyone else, this would be the end of the world. But for Emma and Ray, it's the best news ever. It means there's a human world they can escape to. The next day, their 6-day journey begins. Sonju and Mujika become their survival instructors. Hard mode. In the meantime, Emma and Ray get an earful from everyone for being so reckless. Even the younger kids lecture Ray for playing tag with their pursuers. Emma is getting good with a bow and arrow and offers to go hunting with Sanju. The real reason? She wants to learn how to get meat for the group. Her first kill is a bird. She hits it, but when it's time to finish the job, she freezes. Then Sanju introduces her to Vita, a vampire-like plant that sucks the blood directly from the heart and is used for a ritual. Emma uses the plant but throws up immediately.
This is Gupna. It's how demons traditionally slaughter their prey.
The scene triggers a terrible flashback of her sister Connie, who was killed with that exact plant. When she returns to the group, Emma smiles, but inside, the sadness is weighing her down. While Emma shows Mujika photos of her family, sharing a heartfelt moment of friendship, Ray is absolutely crushing Sanju at chess. The mood turns sour when Jemima mentions Norman, bringing everyone down. Emma reaffirms her promise of escape to Mujika, who responds with a surprising philosophy. Not all demons are the same, and she doesn't see humans merely as food, but as different living beings. 6 days later, it's time to say goodbye. The children don't want to leave their new protectors, but Ray, ever the pragmatist, says they can't depend on others forever. Sanju gives them one last survival tip. If you encounter a demon, run. If you can't run, aim right for the middle of its face, for the eye, just like a video game boss's weak spot. To top it off, Mujika gives Emma a protective amulet, but just when you think it's all about friendship and happy endings, the plot twist hits. Mujika asks Sonju why he saved them, and his answer is bone-chilling. He won't eat these children because they are prime-grade goods. His plan is to let them reproduce and create a new generation of wild humans, so he can hunt and eat natural humans to his heart's content in the future. And to protect his long-term investment, he even heads out to kill the other demons hunting the children. Meanwhile, Emma's group arrives at the shelter's location to find nothing but an overgrown field. The disappointment is palpable, and they immediately think the so-called Mr. Minerva tricked them. But Ray, always the brains of the operation, uses the pen, which reveals a map to an underground entrance. Inside, it's almost a paradise, a fully equipped shelter with food, power, water, and even a piano. But the peace is short-lived. They discover several secret rooms. In one, the word help is written over and over on the wall, super creepy. And to end the episode with a bang, a phone rings in another secret room. Emma answers, and the voice on the other end claims to be William Minerva. Emma is instantly filled with hope, but Ray, ever the buzzkill, points out it's just a recording. In the message, Minerva explains that he grew tired of seeing children become demon chow and decided to create a secret shelter. He leaves the rest to the kids, along with a pen containing a map to the human world labeled Future. Meanwhile, the group finds a diary from a former resident who went mad from watching people disappear. Emma and Ray decide this place will be their base for when they rescue Phil and the others. And so, their life becomes a kind of survivalist Stardew Valley, complete with hunting, harvesting, and even playing in the desert. In a quick cut, we see Isabella locked in a cell, all beaten up, being visited by Grandma and some demons. Things are not looking good for her. Back at the shelter, the kids are tired of eating the same thing every day. After a heated debate, Emma and others decide to look for new food. In the forest, they find a strange, gooey fish. Back at the shelter, no one has the courage to eat it. They draw straws, and the piano boy is chosen. He panics and even offers to stop playing forever. In the end, the kids who found the fish and Ray, who was bored, decide to try it. After an eternity of suspense, they shout that it's delicious.
We're fine. This stuff's okay.
It's great!
You only get 2 pieces each!
During the night watch, boom! An explosion knocks out the power, taking out Don and Rossi, who were on guard. Two men armed to the teeth invade the shelter, but the kids have already evacuated to some nearby caves. Well, almost all of them. Don and Rossi wake up and manage to escape by knocking one of the men out with a chair. Gilda and Ray show up and help them get away, but the invaders find them in the caves. Emma and Ray shove one of them into a bottomless pit and escape to the surface. Outside, the order is to run for the forest, but the area is surrounded by armed soldiers. Just when all seems lost, the giant demon they've met before appears and turns the confrontation into a monster movie, destroying all the soldiers. Ray lands a shot in the creature's eye, which enrages it, and it begins to chase them through the dark forest. Meanwhile, in the prison, a demon offers Isabella a deal, her freedom in exchange for capturing all the children, dead or alive. She accepts immediately. After the attack on the shelter, the kids are living like refugees in a kind of abandoned temple, and supplies are running low. Meanwhile, a group of demons infiltrates a nearby town, discovering that the common folk are in revolt. The nobility is hoarding all the human meat, which has become a luxury item, and everyone else is starving. At the temple, Emma is in a major funk. She feels guilty for everything that's happened and thinks her plan to save everyone was a failure from the start. Ray overhears her and thinks to himself that she's the only reason he's still here. The next day, Toma and Lannion show up in demon disguises like Halloween-style costumes and beg to go to the city. Emma says no, but Dawn decides to take them anyway. Suddenly, a bell rings, and a blind, elderly demon appears from the shadows. He thinks they are demon children and warns them not to stay at the temple. As he goes to make an offering to his goddess, he drops his apples and cane. Against Gilda's wishes, Emma goes and helps the old man, risking being discovered and becoming a snack. The demon thanks her, and while praying, he drops the bombshell. The city is suffering because the nobility has hoarded all the meat, and the common folk are starving. He fears his race will revert to being savage. In the city, two demons are furious because their relatives are dying. They believe that if they capture the children from Grace Field, they'll be able to find a cure. Back in the forest, the kids learn to fish with slingshots and then trick Emma into going to the city to buy spices. But there, Toma and Lannion bump right into the demons who were looking for them. The demons smell human flesh, and the pair panics and bolts. A frantic chase begins. Emma and Ray, who are watching from the rooftops, also have to make a run for it. When they shake off their pursuers and try to return to the temple, they run into the demons again. To make matters worse, another group surrounds Emma and Ray with swords. It's a trap, but then, out of nowhere, a mysterious demon appears and slices the other two in half, shocking everyone. They are pushed towards the leader, expecting the worst, but the figure calls Emma by her name. He takes off his mask.
Emma.
No way! Norman!
Emma can hardly believe her eyes. Norman is alive. He assures her it's really him, pointing out the scar on her ear, and when Ray sees him, his reaction is the purest mix of emotions. First a slap to the face, then a tearful hug. The golden trio is reunited. Back at the ruins, everyone is stunned by his appearance. After the hugs, they all want to know the same thing. What the hell happened to him? Norman explains that he wasn't sent to a slaughterhouse, but to a sinister lab called Lambda. There, he saw the worst of humanity, children used as test subjects, drugged, and suffering mutations. He himself underwent some tests. With the help of a Minerva supporter, he managed to escape and, in the process, developed a drug that causes demons to regress, practically de-evolving them into primitive beasts. The plan? Mass-produce it and exterminate all of them to create a safe world. Almost everyone buys into the idea, but Emma's conscience starts to weigh on her. She vents her feelings alone, saying she doesn't want to kill the demons, as that would make them just like the monsters they despise. Ray overhears and scolds her for not saying it to Norman's face. Later, Ray and Emma go to a hideout Norman pointed out and meet his new team, Sislo, Barbara, and Vincent. They paint a picture of a completely different Norman, cold, calculating, and ruthless, a true emperor who blew up Lambda and rescued several children. Emma is shocked by the stories, nearly fainting when she sees Barbara eating a piece of demon meat. The trio explains that the trauma from Lambda made them this way. When Norman arrives, Ray lays down the truth: the drug doesn't work on everyone. Upon hearing that the demons his group encountered are still alive, Norman, once so confident, writhes in pure rage.
Looking female?
Uh-huh.
You're kidding. The evil-blooded girl is still alive?
Mujika's name is like a trigger for Norman, who gets pissed and starts dropping a 700-year history lesson. It turns out Mujika was a kind of savior, with blood that is basically a cheat code. She can turn any demon into a being that doesn't need to eat humans. Word spread, and for a time, the demon world lived in an era of peace. But the Demon King wasn't a fan of this whole losing control thing. Fearing a rebellion, he ordered the extermination of everyone with Mujika's blood. This genocide is what started the war between humans and demons, and later, the so-called promise. Mujika vanished and has been living as a fugitive ever since. Norman throws it in Emma's face that her plan is naive and decides he will kill Mujika and Sonju so no one can interfere with his plans. Emma tries to argue for other peaceful solutions, but Norman shoots down all her ideas. He pours cold water on everyone's hopes by revealing that their escape was in vain. He was shipped out, all the gates were destroyed, Minerva and his allies were eliminated, and the only exit to the human world is right under Grace Fieldhouse. In desperation, Emma makes a last-minute proposal. She'll find Sonju and Mujika in 1 week, and Norman has to pause his plan. After a brief negotiation over the deadline, Norman agrees, but gives her only 5 days. As soon as they leave, Norman heads down to the basement and finds his crew, Vincent, Barbara, and Sislo. He tells them about the conversation, and Barbara, who clearly can't take the pressure anymore, has an attack, like a side effect from the sinister experiments performed on her. Norman reaffirms that the plan is still on, and that he will kill everyone when Emma brings the 2 demons, all while staring at the carcass of a giant demon.
It's too late to change course now.
Back at the camp, Emma explains the plan, and the group is divided. Despite their reservations, they unite to show Norman that they've survived and that there's another way. But how to find the 2? That's when one of the kids has a eureka moment. They can follow the migratory birds to their food source. Don and Gilda join Emma and Ray to track them. Meanwhile, back at his base, Norman has a coughing fit and spits blood into his hand, remembering the night he was shipped out. Alone, he apologizes to his old friends, leaving the reason hanging in the air. Thought Norman had become demon food? Not a chance. The guy ended up at Lambda 7214, a sinister laboratory run by Peter Rattray, the big boss who wants to control all the farm children like puppets, leaving no shred of hope. While Norman aced every test, proving his intelligence was on another level, other kids like Sislo, Barbara, and Zazie were used as guinea pigs. But our genius didn't just sit back. He devised an escape plan worthy of Prison Break, built a bomb, blew the place up, and rescued the survivors, who became his new team. Before dying, a scientist even hands him a mysterious pen.
Come with me.
Back in the present, Emma, Ray, and the group are on a frantic search for Mujika and Sonju. They know that without them, there's no way to stop Norman's plan. The race against time is desperate, and they sense something is wrong, as their friend is in too much of a hurry. 3 days later, they come face to face with a wild demon, and just when all seems lost, Sonju appears and saves the day. The relief of finding them, however, is short-lived. It's too late. Norman and his team have already invaded the demon village, releasing a drug that causes them to degenerate and devour each other in a horrifying spectacle. Norman himself joins the slaughter to finish the job, not even sparing the children. Things get even heavier when a demon grandfather tries to save his little granddaughter. The girl degenerates, but he doesn't, a sign that he has Mujika's blood. Realizing this, Norman, blinded by hatred, decides to kill them both. But an arrow from Emma prevents the tragedy. She looks at her friend and declares war. Norman feels a twinge of regret upon seeing the carnage he caused, but quickly composes himself, ready for the battle against Emma.
I won't let you leave us all behind again!
Emma and Ray try to talk some sense into Norman, but he's adamant, saying it's too late for a peaceful plan. Seeing all the destruction he's caused, the reality of it finally hits him. He's done more harm than good. The boy breaks down and cries in front of Emma, crushed by everything he suffered and the rash decisions he made due to his limited time. Suddenly, a wild demon attacks the group, but before things get any worse, Vilk cuts his own hand. Sonju does the same and throws the piece to the demon, which returns to normal as if nothing happened. That's when Mujika appears. She reveals the secret. Her blood is the cure for the degeneration. Vilk sees his own hand regenerate and realizes she's alive. Meanwhile, Barbara and Sislo find 2 terrified demon children. Barbara prepares to attack, but freezes, seeing herself in them and having a crisis. Norman stops Zazie from finishing the job and finally comes clean. He doesn't want revenge, just to save his family. And the bombshell? He's at stage 4 of his illness and will die soon, hence the rush. Vincent is pissed about the pause in the genocide, but Sislo and Barbara convince him that Norman is more important than revenge. Back at Gracefield, Toma and Lanyon arrive in a panic. Phil and the others are about to be shipped out, but it's a trap set by Rotary and Grandma Isabella, who is back from the dead. Rotary's plan is to turn all the farms into Lambda-style labs, making Gracefield obsolete. With this news, Emma is desperate to rescue Phil, even with Ray suspecting a trap. That's when Vilk appears and gives Emma a piece of the so-called promise pen. He explains that 700 years ago he found a dying man who gave him the piece and asked him to deliver it to the children. Fearing he'd be tracked, Vilk ate the man to leave no trace. When they put the pieces together, the pen becomes a Star Wars-level holographic projector. It shows the blueprints for Gracefield, the gate to the human world, and the recipe for the cure for the effects of the drug used on Norman and the others. The group is moved to tears, their hope renewed. They all decide to return to Gracefield to save Phil. But while everyone sleeps, Vincent, the traitor of the moment, is on the radio calling Gracefield. On the other end of the line, Isabella. Vincent says he has information and wants to make a deal.
Gracefield, who is this?
I have information.
Emma, Ray, and Norman are cooking up a plan worthy of Money Heist to invade Gracefield and rescue Phil and the others. The idea is genius. Use hot air balloons to drop a demon-incapacitating drug from above. But Norman is playing 4D chess. He has Vincent leak the information on purpose to Peter Rotary, who takes the bait hook, line, and sinker. Rotary, thinking he's the puppet master, prepares his trap and even promotes Isabella to Grandma as a reward. Meanwhile, little Phil is about to be shipped, and desperation is setting in. That's when the operation begins. The hot air balloons were just a diversion, exploding on the ground to clear a path for Sanju and Norman's troops to attack from above. It's a rain of arrows from all directions. Emma's team invades with smoke bombs, grabs a demon's headset, and Vincent hacks the system just to laugh in Rotary's face. The tables have turned. Jemima relays the plan to Phil, who distracts the caretakers by knocking over the luggage and making a break for the elevator with the kids. The reunion, however, is short-lived. The mamas appear armed with machine guns, and Isabella, with a villainous smile, gives them a welcome. Rotary gloats, ordering everyone to surrender.
My precious children, you've all come back to me.
You poor lost children. Playtime is over.
Barbara tries to fight back and gets shot in the foot. Just as Rotary is about to eliminate Emma, the script does a 180. Isabella points her gun at him, and all the other caretakers do the same, tired of the working conditions and of being disposable. Rotary still trusts his backup, but his backup is gone, intercepted by a revolt of civilian demons led by Muji Ka. Upon seeing Muji Ka, Rotary crumbles. He's lost everything. In the midst of his breakdown, Emma approaches and makes an offer. Escape with them to the human world or die here. But the guy is in full "there is no hope" mode, refuses the offer, and in a heavy scene, slits his own throat. As he bleeds out, a flashback reveals everything. He always admired his brother James Rotary, the former head of the clan, but James, who later became William Minerva, discovered the secret of the farms, found it unacceptable, and created the entire escape plan to save the children. Peter saw this as a betrayal and, shockingly, hired an assassin to kill his own brother. Hearing his final words, regret hit him hard. Back in the present, he refuses to escape his fate, acting on the old saying, "The captain goes down with the ship." With Rotary out of the picture, the path to the human world is finally clear. Isabella and her team want to stay behind to buy time, but Ray arrives with the subtlety of a sledgehammer and tells her to get over it, convincing her to come along. Emma pulls the lever and an elevator descends to a tree-shaped door bearing Minerva's owl. They fit the pen into the owl's eye. The door opens and, plot twist, just as they're about to cross, Emma, Ray, Norman, and the Lambda crew reveal they're staying in the demon world. We learn they had already arranged this to rescue their comrades left behind, with the help of Mujika's blood. Dawn and Gilda will go to the human world to care for the younger children. The doors begin to close and Phil runs to give Emma one last hug, promising to come back for them if they take too long.
I'll go get you! So please be careful over there! Yeah, I'll hurry. I promise.
They finally arrive in the human world, right in New York City. Contrary to what they feared, people help them. The children can finally wear normal clothes, go to school, and live a real life. Meanwhile, Emma and her group travel through the demon world, rescuing more children and reaching the capital, where Mujika is hailed as a hero. Years pass, and in a final scene, Phil, now a teenager, is reunited with Emma. Mission accomplished.
Emma.